Welcome to this new episode of Serial for July 2025, and we immediately start with a film. It's a low ISO color from FFP, the Film Photography Project. It's a reproduction film. It's made to duplicate copies of film originally, I believe. It's 1.6 ISO, so not very sensitive, but it's great because when you're in full light with a very open lens, you can actually do it. So the two first pictures, that's in Bucharest. And as you can see, when it's fully open, it's kind of glary, glowy. It's got lots of character. Let's call it like this. But it's not uninteresting, and it definitely has some style, which makes for a new tool, another tool. I've used both that film and that equipment. That's the camera, sorry. It's a Pen FT, so it's half frame, using a 50mm f1.2. It's a pretty rare lens. And yeah, I've used that film. I haven't used it for a few years. Used it in Rome, I believe, 3 years ago. And really interesting characteristics. Even so, you're in full aperture, you get the problem, the low ISO, and you will have some motion blur when there's not enough light. But I kind of like the picture on the left. That's one example, still in Bucharest. And also that lens, it's a smaller lens, it's an older lens. It's got a lot of flare and ghosting, but it's got some interesting characteristics. Here again, pictures you might have seen in the previous months using other equipment from Bucharest. This church from afar. The interesting thing is you really can use those lenses in full bright light when you have such a film. It seems very low, but it works for most situations in very sunny situations. Or I kind of like that. I don't like branding, but yeah, I like that McDonald's logo far away with the cloud. I thought there was something interesting in it. Anyhow, if you close the diaphragm, you get more quality, the more usual quality of the lens. So you have the option here with some algae and plastic. Is it plastic? Yeah, it's probably plastic. On a southern Iceland beach, or this duck and its ducklings on the right, same place. Or those geothermal factories. I believe it's the same factory, but seen from a different point of view, from close and far, using the same equipment. So you get some interesting stuff once you close the diaphragm, and you have this option of going really full depth of field if you desire to. This film has some... that was my first video, I think, on the French channel when I didn't do both languages using the FFP 1.6 ISO. And it tends to go in the blues, in the low exposure parts of the film, but it does have a full spectrum. But here, still south of Iceland, those volcanic rocks. I think this equipment combined to the film is interesting. Even so, you have a lower resolution because of the half frame film. Well, camera. The Pen FT is a great camera, by the way. You do get those really interesting, very thin focus. Depths of field, like you have on the left, where you will have something very dreamy, very kind of weird, or is this very glowy, like you see on the right, situations with this church south of Iceland. Or here's a lupina, that's a parasitic flower in Iceland that tends to make incredible, actually pretty fields of bluish, purplish, mauve fields. It kind of covers the lava. I think it's a problem ecologically, but it looks nice. Or it's simply this beach west of Iceland, southwest of Iceland, with those volcanic rocks. That's near Reykjavik. And here again, two details. I kind of like the combination here, the technical combination. It gives it a certain glowy aspect, a little bit more poetic. If you close the diaphragm, of course, here are two details from Icelandic gardens. It gets closer to what you would have with a normal lens, but and you do have that full spectrum on that film. Even so, it tends to go towards the blues. And here, two more details. I'm not sure what the picture on the left is. I think it's still in Romania, but I'm not sure. And in the right, that's west of Reykjavik, sunset in the summertime. So it's pretty late. It's probably in the middle of the night, but the sun is not yet down. Let's go to digital now. That's using the SL2. If I'm not wrong, this is a Summarit-M 75mm f2.5 lens. I travel quite a bit, and this was during a flight from Iceland to the United States, and I was in a position where I had the wing. So most of you who fly, you know that the wing is often something on your on your line of sight, and I thought, well, why not try to do something with it? So I usually do that also, but here I had more than one example. I didn't take that many pictures this month. So I thought it would be interesting, and depending on the lights behind, the speed, both images here are at liftoff, I believe. You get some really graphically interesting things. I'm not sure it goes more beyond that, but anyways. Or on the left here, you have the sun. We're inside a small, very diffuse cloud, and I thought it could be an interesting shot, and I kind of like it with the flare and the glare. On that wing, or simply using the engine. That's another flight, landing, going towards New York. Having parts of the wing can give a sense of the size and the distance you're at. And here on the right, that's the last one. Again, for the size aspect, the wing can be interesting, puts everything in context, serves kind of as a frame. Here we have the Empire State Building by night. Or on the left, that's simply from the JFK airport, one of those incredible views with the sun, views of Manhattan and the main buildings of the city. You're not obliged to do photos with the wing, of course. And here, I kind of like that gloomy, kind of futuristic view of New York on the left. Very grainy because I pushed the ISOs up. But you have the Empire State Building, you have all this old part of Manhattan. Or on the right, that's going through the United States, going westwards. The layer of cloud was not that deep and kind of very cottony. And you could see the lights of the cities underneath, which I found interesting. Anyways, here switching to something else, more light, obviously. On the left, that's 21mm f4.5 per hour. I always forget what millimeter it is, but this very wide angle, flat, basically pancake lens with its vignetting and its kind of very diffuse, out of focus aspect on the border, but very nice lens, great geometry, lots of character. Or on the right, that's the very clean Summarit-M 75mm of the same scene. So it was interesting to compare with obviously different qualities in how you can tell a story using those different lenses. Here I'm two images of details of a garden using the 75mm f2.5, the Summarit-M. With a kind of slightly rotating bokeh, which you find in certain circumstances. Here's the same on the left, and on the right, that's a Summicron-C 40mm f2.0 lens. Details of a garden again. On the left, that's the Perard wide-angle lens. Detail of an old Jeep. Or on the right, that's a place in Palo Alto. So that's south of San Francisco. Sorry, I didn't say it before, in the center of the Silicon Valley. It's a place where it's been for years. There's a collection of old milk delivery trucks, which I find kind of interesting. So I just took a picture with the Perard once again. Yeah. It's a really interesting place. Or here's the Bay Area. I've done that in the past years. I regularly go there. Originally, I'm from there. And that's here where I am. I'm really in between all the GAFAs. Google is just slightly south. Facebook is slightly west. Apple is southwest. This is East Palo Alto. There's baylands that are protected. It's a reserve where you find all kinds of original plants, algae, animals, mainly birds. A really nice place. It's saltlands, so very interesting to visit. And it's a very special place. The erosion is very strange. The way the water moves, the plants, and it's a really great place to go and enjoy simply a good moment and maybe take pictures. The picture on the left that's facing the mountains you see behind is the ocean. Those pictures, by the way, are the ones before where it's Summicron-C, though there's Summarit-M 75mm. Or here was the Perard. We can see it was vignetting. Those are talking about the ocean. That's on the Pacific Ocean behind those mountains. Slightly south of Half Moon Bay, slightly north of Pescadero, for those who know. And still is pretty cool by that time of the year. You have the Gulf Stream that brings cold waters, so the water is pretty cold. But you have pelicans, and it's basically in the mid-20s centigrade. And you can see those small pelicans on the right. And people can really enjoy the great life in the sun. Here are two pictures. The one on the left is simply a detail of a cowboy scene, a drawing or print from probably the 1950s, maybe earlier. Just I took a picture of it because I kind of like it. And I was moving to Midwest, more eastwards in California, North California. And here you can see a pig getting ready to be weighted. Pretty nice pig, by the way. That's on a ranch. And so we're really maybe like 3 to 4 hours far from the ocean in the lands, Cowboy land. And you have those skies, that's a detail of a house, and kind of like those pictures. That's with the 40mm Summicron-C for one on the left, and Summarit-M on the right, 75mm. Or here's a Summicron-C 40mm details of a ranch with this tractor. 2 points of view. As you can see, one was the horse that was kind of very active. One was a cowboy and the horse. From the other point of view, the same tractor, how you can change the definition of a scene simply by changing your point of view. Or here, two different lenses. The one on the left, that's... I'm not really sure of my lenses actually, but because I also had for this trip, the one on the right, that's obviously an older lens. Yeah, the one on the left, that's 75mm Summarit-M 75mm f2.5. On the right, that's Tele-Elmar 135mm f4, which I brought this time because I was going to take pictures of a rodeo. So old school lens, quite cheap to find on the secondhand market. So I've used it once or twice before, and I was using it. I was obviously wanting to use it way more this time, and I did, but I think it's a very poetic lens. And I started taking the pictures of the rodeo on the 1st, so it's going to be next month. But here, two more pictures. That's a 75mm Summicron M 75mm 2.5. You can see it was the modern rendering, the precision, a dog or a cowboy on the right with his cowboy boots. And here some traditional cattle. It's not cattle made for rodeo, but they're kind of enjoying. I was there. They were kind of enjoying the change of habit and serving as an exercise for the cowboys that were practicing on a ranch. Really cool moments. It was really warm, really hot at that time of that day. And here's that dog just running around and enjoying himself. And here, two last pictures for this month with the MS Optics Perard of that county fair where the rodeo will take place the next day. That was the last day of July. Really great fair. It was really fun to be there, really super friendly. An interesting view of a different way of life. Anyhow, hopefully those pictures were interesting, kind of entertained you. If you have questions, commentaries, suggestions, don't hesitate as usual. And yeah, catch you next time.